What's going on, everybody? Happy trade deadline eve. Bobby Fye and Eric Sheets-Haber dealing with it's a pretty insane slate. I actually think that there is a path, even on a big slate, where you may end up with money on the table in certain builds, just a little bit. I mean, I'm talking about a huge amount, but there's just the value is going to keep coming. There's going to be guys out after lock. You have to late swap all the time, but you especially have to late swap today. And we've already had Podol traded, so we've got the Olynyk mega chalk. Boucher is available tonight, and his projection seems a little too low to me. So that's another thing. We've got Rashawn Holmes because Valanciunas was traded. So everything is up in the air. Sheets. I guess we can start talking about how to approach a slate like this.
Well, I think you probably covered the main pieces. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what else. Obviously, stuff come up, but that's the latest news that's come in. You weren't like a sleepaway camp kid growing up, but so what you would do at sleepaway camp is, like you'd have like they put teams together and play sports against each other for like, a couple, like maybe like 2 weeks or so, and they keep track of like how you did, and then like after 2 weeks they would like reorganize all the teams, so everybody would like play like with different people, and that's kind of what the NBA feels like right now. It's like everything's shuffling, and then there can there could be a good DFS comp just to see if anybody can guess who's on every team. Like
that would be much hard. I bet you that 99% of the professional DFS players would have no chance in this.
I mean, and then God forbid DraftKings can keep up with the or FanDuel keep up with the jerseys.
Yeah. So it's gonna be wild. And the only thing I'd correct you on is that I was actually like I would say that I was like my whole life was a sleepaway camp. Like
right, but I'm not like
I got you
guys. So here's actually one projection that I'm seeing. See, normally, boy, this is like so weird. I have to redo all these. So there's one guy that I'm seeing that SaberSim has at 1 fantasy point, and everybody else has him at like 14.
Who would that be?
Actually, it's like 10 or 11, so it doesn't make a difference. Who's Adam Bona?
He's the backup center for Philadelphia.
Okay.
I don't think that the only reason like it doesn't even matter to me anyway is
it doesn't.
Drummond's out, and I've played him as a speculative value play, but I don't even know, like, the builds are going to be all the same on DraftKings pretty much because you've got Rashawn Holmes, and they did bring Olynyk's projection down a little bit, but Rashawn Holmes and Kelly Olynyk, and I think you could throw potentially Jacoby Walter into the mix. Those guys are going to be in most lineups.
And what about Bucelis?
And then I love Bucelis, but I don't think that he's I don't think he's going to be like the same kind of chalk those guys are.
I don't think so. Oh, I'm looking at FanDuel. Sorry.
Yeah, but FanDuel, this might be a different story. Like last night on FanDuel, he was 10% owned. He was 2% owned on DraftKings. And by the way, by the time that the Bulls game rolls around, he may be the ultimate chalk. We just don't know. So the Bulls are trading everybody.
I got another guy that's showing up at these are like the 6Xs. You've talked about 4 of them: Kelly O, Rashawn Holmes, Jacoby Walter, and we just talked about Bucelis. Got 2 other guys. One we played before. We got this Grady Dick who always shows up. I have him at 6X. Then I got a guy I don't know. Who is Jamal Sheed?
Jamal Sheed has been coming off the bench for them for a while.
Okay.
But he does have like some upside, and he's actually been in some like lineups that nobody played him because it was like random games off the bench. But this is more, just with the bodies they're down. I'm just gonna take a quick look and see where I've got him. I think that with just it may be like they're missing a lot in Toronto, obviously, but Sheed it feels a little. It's like thin, but he's like a better point per minute guy. So it's kind of hard to know what to do with that. Like he's better. I would rather play him than Davion Mitchell, but I'd rather play Jacoby Walter than I would play him, although he's certainly going to be lower owned. So I think that he's totally viable. And I'm just going to take a quick look at the projections on him because it's about 6X at 3,100. I think he's an interesting pivot off of Walter if you wanted to go that route.
I have a couple of other ideas. So the guy the way I used to look at my sheets here, if I was just going to hand build, is I would look at the highest price guy that had a good point per dollar projection, right? So like the first guy that was like instead of 3K with 6X, like the guy that was 6K. So the first guy I get to, it's not quite 6X. The first like actually like regular player is Jordan Poole. Okay, so Jordan Poole is like the guy that we've all heard of, right? That we play a lot anyway. Good spot, even and so you got both Kuzma and not that what's his name?
Valanciunas, yeah.
Yeah, but so if let's just if Jordan Poole has a good game, you're gonna want him. I think. I don't know if he's gonna have a good game, but and is it possible because all these 3K guys are looking better that he's not complete mega chalk because people are gonna play the 3Ks with Jokic or he's still gonna get jammed?
For which one? For Jokic?
For Jordan Poole.
Oh, I don't think that has anything to do. Like that just opens up more. I'll just say it. Like I'm gonna end up with some Jordan Poole tonight. I'll just say this like literally never works. Like, he had games without Kuzma early in the season. He had games without Valanciunas. I would, yes, I'm gonna end up with some of it. I think I'd rather like shift my like. Okay, maybe I'd rather play Carrington for value. Maybe I would rather play Koulibaly. I'm just saying, like, he fails far more often than he succeeds. He's probably the most overdrafted player in DFS. And he does have a huge ceiling. We all know that. But you look at the times he's gotten there. And actually, what's weird is, like, for whatever reason, he seems to always get there only on the road. But he's on the road. Look, it's fine. It's just, I don't know whether to be excited about it or what. I'm getting to some of it. I don't feel like it's like he's by like a priority play or anything.
Well, you hit on Carrington, and you also hit on Koulibaly. So I definitely like both of those guys.
Yeah, for sure. And then just be aware of starting for what it's worth. Micic is now out for Charlotte, which means that like. I don't know. I think it means KJ Simpson is going to look pretty decent, but that's one that you certainly don't have to do at 4,200 because you're getting other guys that basically are in the same situation at 1,000 less. So you don't have to do anything with it, but it's bump up for Nick Smith and for KJ Simpson. I also really like Miles Bridges in that game. I have one narrative. Donovan Mitchell ruled out. Well, that's today. Which game? Against Detroit. So yeah, as I predicted earlier, and why did they even wait to make us find out? You know what I mean? I said that Cleveland would sit somebody today, and they're sitting Donovan Mitchell. They might be sitting more. We don't even know yet. So it's like we already have no. Okay, I'm just looking at Cleveland for a second, just trying to figure out what I want to. I think it's just pretty simple, just to go from Marlin.
Yeah. Play LeVert? No, I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, on a back-to-back, how much run are they going to give LeVert off of an injury? We'll see. But do we even need that kind of a thing? You know what I mean? Like, there's just so many other guys who are going to look really good. And by the way, people are saying Richaun Holmes right now. There's a chance you end up with very little Richaun Holmes because what it may be is this. And by the way, this is not Nikola Vucevic. Okay, I want to make this very clear. This is somebody else. It is Tristan Vuk, Vukcevic. So it's Vucevic with a K. There's a very reasonable chance he could outplay minutes-wise versus Holmes tonight. Holmes never plays many minutes. We all know from his history that we like him per minute and all this stuff. He just doesn't play many minutes, hardly ever. Why are the Wizards – they don't even need to win games. Like, why wouldn't they let the young guy Vucevic play more? So I actually think that's your pivot off of the center chalk. I wish he had a different eligibility. That way you get creative. You play him at power forward, but he's really playing center for them.
Could you do me a favor? Could you say that all over? What are you saying with Vukovic? What's happening?
His name is Tristan Vukcevic.
What name? Who?
This is for Washington.
Oh, okay. So this is a guy that might play center for Washington.
He may be the better play than Richaun Holmes.
Richaun Holmes. Okay. I don't know what you're talking about.
Like he's projected at 6x right now. But Holmes is projected at 7.7, but it could easily be the Vukcevic instead of Holmes. It doesn't have to be Richaun Holmes. So I guess that's my pivot right there. And I will probably deal with this by upgrading Vukcevic. How should we say it from now? Tristan No, that doesn't. There's other Tristan.
He's never going to play. He's never going to play again, so it doesn't make a difference.
He might. These young guys, you never know. You know, it's like with remember, I think that you made that comment offhandedly once about Jovic.
That's right.
And he's a real player. He's a guy and you're going to really hear more from him in the next couple of years too. It would be my guess. Yeah, TJ stacking Naz Reid, McDaniel, and Naz Reid and McDaniel together, and thinking about Gobert. I don't like any of that. I like Naz Reid. I don't like any of the idea of trying to go out of your way. That's just. I know TJ. I know you a long time. I think you do way too much game log watching. I do think there's something to be caught on to with what McDaniels has been doing in general. Sure, we can take note of it, but paying $6,500 for McDaniels on this slate doesn't feel like something. If it ends up in one of my lotteries, so be it. There is no way in the world I'm trying to play Jaden McDaniels here. I mentioned him earlier. I think it's I actually think like we're just relying on such. I don't even know what we're relying on. We're going to start playing a guy at $6,500. We wouldn't play at $3,800 for the last 4 years. I know it's different. I know he's starting to get some more stuff without Randall especially. But I am not on board on this slate because you're going to have other guys at 6K. Like, okay, they take McDaniels versus Poole. I don't care what the game log recently says. Poole will have the opportunity to get 60 fantasy points tonight. There's nothing that gives McDaniels any opportunity to do anything except for that he's on the court and he might just happen to get himself into a game. Yeah, there's a lot of rumors about the Jimmy Butler going to Golden State. Kevin Durant came out and said he doesn't want to go there. We'll see where Kevin Durant ends up. I'm a little afraid that he may end up with my Lakers. I know it sounds like annoying to most of you guys. It's a little bit the privilege thing, but I don't. I mean, everybody who knows me knows my two least favorite players over the past, basically since Durant left the NBA I've left OKC were Durant and LeBron. So I'd be stuck with two of them. But look, it would make the team awesome. So it's I just don't know how they're going to get that done. Who's the guy I'm talking about plays for the Pelicans? Vucevic? Vucevic plays for Washington. Did I totally miss something? No, I'm pretty sure.
Right. You're right.
Washington.
Are there like 3 Vucevic, or maybe Vucevic? The other one was traded to.
Anything's possible.
Wait, let's talk more a little bit about the Cleveland. So you think Ty Jerome's going to show up as a good play again?
I just don't know what we're doing it for.
I don't know. Maybe he's a good play anyway. No.
No.
Okay.
I don't think at 4,800 you're going to get me. Like, look, if he ends up in a lineup or two, you can certainly argue that about the upside, but there's nothing about that play that, like, especially with LeVert back. Remember, we were playing him all that time without LeVert.
Oh, okay.
So, could it work out? Sure. Like, is it probably going to be a priority of mine? I don't see myself, unless they announce LeVert out, I don't know that I would play a bunch of Ty Jerome, but he does have enough upside. I mean, there's a lot of good value out there. I don't want to. I'm interested in the speculative value with guys like Vucevic with a K, because that actually is something I could talk myself into.
Or you call him cheap Vooch.
Cheap Vooch.
If you want.
Sure. Yeah.
Whatever works.
And by the way, we don't even know what's going to happen with the later games. So I guess maybe that's the thing, because I'm going to get out of here at 6:30 so I can talk to the subscribers and then also get my updated, where I'm at ownership wise. I'm letting the Sims and the projections do a little more for me today than usual. I'm just changing a few things. I did want to throw out one play that no one's going to get to that is literally going to be like a 0.5% owned play. Zach Edey's Canadian going to Toronto, who can't rebound. I think Zach Edey's an interesting tournament dart.
Okay.
If he was like the same price as these other guys, the problem is he's center eligible. Like, there's no way anybody's going to get to it. But I just am throwing it out there that I think this might be a good Zach Edey game, for what it's worth. Anyway, it was like it's like remember the Ben Simmons on Australian Heritage Night was a big deal for a while.
I think he's scored more fantasy points that day than he has since.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm waiting for Cleveland to update, but I really think that Garland is just the basic answer.
Sure.
And I think that Mobley, I mean, it's a good pace matchup. You can score on Detroit. All of these guys are just a little boost, which might be good enough to get them in your lineups. But it is one of the first set of games. You're going to be giving up some equity on some of the later news that might not break. But yeah, if you wanted to play it, run him out there. I also think Cade Cunningham is a really good play on the other side tonight. I'm interested in Wembanyama from this first set of games.
Sure.
I've got him about 25% right now. I'm done with this DeAndre Hunter projection. I just have to manually lower it every day. I'm so tired of Saberson forcing him into all my lineups. I'm just not doing it. It's a bad projection. I don't care if he gets to his 30 fantasy points or not. Not for me. Trae Young would be the one. I have 7% of them, nothing crazy. I'll probably end up with a healthy amount of Garland and maybe some others from that team. On the Detroit side, Jalen Duren and Cade Cunningham are the only ones I'm looking at right now.
I will say that this 30-point projection for DeAndre Hunter is just pretty consistent.
It always happens off the bench, and it almost never gets there.
30, but
he's been at 30. I mean, okay, so yeah, he's gotten there twice in his last 17 games.
How is he showing up in your lineups if he's only getting projected to 30? That's like pretty funny.
Because it just fills a role. And they love, and for whatever reason, I think that I clicked on the range of outcomes tool for him.
Yeah,
they're way too high.
Okay.
He can get it, like he can do it, and they are missing bodies. Like the logic of the play isn't escaping me. It's just not for me. Not when he's going to be. And also, he's like, what is his ownership even? I just feel like every day I build on if I let the Saberson default too much. I mean, his ownership projected around 15%. Actually, maybe higher. Like, I don't know. I understand they're down stuff, but this is not a sure thing kind of a play for me. I like him in real life. I think he's made some strides. If it was a different slate, I would be talking about Larry Nance Jr. off the bench in that game, but it's not. So I can't.
Yeah, this slate is, it's like every other slate this week.
Yeah. So the way I'm looking at it is what do I want to do with the spend ups? Let's see the highest scoring projected players. I do love Jokic. I don't think you need to change his projection much because the Sims love him. I like Wembanyama. I really like Anthony Edwards. I like Cade Cunningham, as I mentioned earlier. I think that's I could sell myself on the Cade thing pretty easily. I think Trae Young is a reasonable spend up. Tyrese Maxey, if no Paul George, and even if Paul George, I don't mind it. But the one I'm getting the most is Scotty Barnes because they're missing everything. They play against the fastest team. They're at home, and they don't have anybody else who initiates offense regularly. So Scotty Barnes feels like a no-brainer, and I don't understand the current projection, nor do I understand the ownership on him. My guess is I end up with Scotty Barnes as my highest owned non-center tonight. And then you get back to the guys like Bam.
Oh.
I'm getting to a lot of Zion.
Oh my!
I did. Okay, there we go. I bumped it down. You know what? His projection was going nuts on SaberSim for a minute. Now it's back to human. It was at 47 as a median. That's ridiculous. It should be like low 40s. But I think he's an interesting play. I would keep him. I'll make him at 43 or something just to see if I can get to a little bit of him. So those are sort of the guys. And then Jordan Poole, I've got 20% of, but 25% of. But I don't feel excited about it. Naz Reid, they didn't give me much of, and I do like Naz Reid. But those are the guys who like the others, other than the value that I'm leaning towards the most right now. Levert is starting. Okay, what do I think about RG's 28 projection for Levert? Feels a little ambitious. Well, we're not on RG, so I don't have that projection for Levert, and I don't think I'm going to, and I kind of feel good about not having that projection.
What, he's starting now? Is that the story?
He's starting, but that actually is.
They're projecting him for 30. You're saying
20? There's they just told us that Roto Grinders are projecting him at 28. I don't know. I haven't. I don't think we've updated him yet on SaberSim. So, I mean, it's like totally reasonable that he gets in the 30s. But I don't think it's like he has to. It is a second of a back-to-back. He did miss some games. He played 16 minutes last night, but that probably leaves him enough room to get there tonight. I think it's okay. 28 feels a little high. I think that now SaberSim has done it, and they've made him 26.7. I know it doesn't sound like much, but that feels a little bit more accurate to me. So I would rather go in the 26 range as a median, knowing that he can get you 40, but I don't think I need to play all of him here. Ty Jerome has become a thing for them. So I just want to throw that out there. And by the way, as Brendan points out, Zach Edey had 50 fantasy points against the Raptors last time, for what it's worth. My sneaky Edie play. All right, let's see. I don't know what this dude Justin was talking about. Who the dude I'm talking about plays for New Orleans. I don't know what that was about. Thoughts on Gobert? I mean, look, you're down a big, so sure. But there's no way I'm like, I wouldn't do I don't think there's almost any chance I end up with much Gobert on DraftKings because these centers are where the value is. You know, you've got my cheap Vucevic, you've got Kelly Olynyk, you've got Rashawn Holmes, you've got my Zach Edey sneaky play, and then you've got the Jokic and the Jokic and Wemby. So I just am gonna have a hard time. And by the way, all of a sudden it wants me to get none of Jokic. I'm gonna put Jokic with a huge median projection just because I still think it's right to try to get that. You know, if you get that 99 fantasy point game with this much value, even though you're giving up serious value at the other center spot, I think it's worth doing. And I think it's worth it to be higher on him than it is to be higher on Wemby. They both have tremendous. This might be the Wemby like 90 plus game too, though. In fact, if you wanted to do one hand build, maybe I will do one hand build where I play, just say F it to the value. We're going to play Wemby and Jokic, and I'll use the other value. Double center. It's interesting.
It is.
So like, and right now my highest owned players are currently, I'm going to rebuild them. Let's rebuild with reality. So before I actually do it, because I still had Zion in there. I think it's just a little bit crazy to go that high. Although, again, I think he's an incredible tournament play. I really do like him as a tournament play. I don't know if I want 60% of him, but I think he gets 50 here, plenty of the time to play him. Yeah, so what else are we getting? I'm just looking at the news and seeing if they missed anything else. Yeah, they start LeVert. Okay. LeVert is completely reasonable. Yeah, I'm totally fine with the LeVert thing, but I don't think that you need to, like, if it gives you 100%, I would do something. I'd lower the projection by a point or do something to where I don't get all of my lineups based on LeVert off of an injury, playing limited minutes with Ty Jerome's recent emergence. I don't know. I don't think I want to do 100% of it. Let me just make sure who I have my.
I'm wondering how much Scotty Scheffler I'm going to play tomorrow.
Oh yeah, Kenny and I talked about that. We did a very long show, but we talked about it a lot. And the question is, do you go closer to locking or do you go closer to fading entirely? And I actually thought about the fading entirely as an option. But
I know what I'm doing. I know exactly.
Are you going to do it?
No, I'm completely not looking. That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna run my stuff. I'm gonna run my things. I'm gonna run my process. I'm literally not gonna look until.
I'm gonna bet you anything you end up with 95% of them. So that's.
I have no idea. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
So after rerunning things a little bit, I am getting LeVert as my highest owned player, and I don't want him to be my highest owned. So I will manually drop his projection a point. I just think there's plenty of fail paths for him here. And I also don't want this number on Jordan Poole, but I don't want none of them either because it does scare me not to have him. But I don't mind if I'll make him 37 instead of 38.5. You know, Rashawn Holmes versus, and I'm going to just double check this Vuk thing because I think that's the way to. I think that's what we do. I think we make that's a place we can make a stand that I could talk myself into in a major way.
The Vucevic, the cheap Vooch.
Yeah, the cheap Vooch. I can certainly talk myself into that, and then if I take his up and Holmes down a little bit, I think that we've got maybe some business we could do with that. That's sort of where I'm at, guys. Pop in questions or thoughts. This is like I say to everybody, this is a slate you have to be able to late swap. There's no such thing as planning out what you're going to do before each 30 minutes goes by. Justin is asking if I would play Edey on FanDuel. I still don't know how much of Edey I'm going to get to. I just wanted to throw out that I like him. Like it's hard to get to guys even you like on these kind of slates because he takes up a center spot. And as I mentioned, the center is where the value is for the most part. And then also where Jokic is. So, and he's also more expensive over there. So no, look, if I end up with a couple lineups with him, that'll make me happy. I am not going out of my way. I did raise his projection 3 points. That still probably isn't going to be enough to get to him.
Who is this?
Or actually, I raised him 4 points. Edey.
From what to what?
On FanDuel about playing him. He's definitely a worse play on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings.
What number do you raise into? What points to what points?
28. 23.5 to 28.
I mean, let's put it this way: if you don't get to him, then you shouldn't have him.
That's the point, though. Is what I'm saying is like even if you put him at that, like you need the outlier 40 plus from him, and you need the other guys also not to have the 40 plus, which
That's a rough
parlay.
That's a rough parlay.
They all could. It's a rough one. Yeah. Again, I just wanted to mention that I like the play. Now, if he gets his 50, then I'm not worried about it, really. I'm not worried about most of these 3K guys getting to 50. I do like the idea of getting more of this Vucevic. So the guys who I've changed projections on, I've lowered Levert, I've lowered Holmes. I still am going to get a bunch of them. I've lowered Jordan Poole. Now I'm going to go back to Buzdelis because I was actually trying to raise it on him, but now it's a drop. I've raised Zion's a little bit. I've raised Wembanyama's by a point because of the matchup, and I think it's being a little underaccounted for. I raised Anthony Edwards by a half a point, nothing crazy. And I raised Edie by four plus points, and now I've got 11% of them, which is about where I want to be. I'm just saying, you play the outlier thing, it can happen. I'm going to take a couple shots there. Let's see. I raised Cade Cunningham 2 points to 51. Still not getting much of him, by the way, which is kind of crazy because there's a lot of value at point guard and center. Actually, there's value at everywhere now. Yeah, those are the main ones that I raised. De'Aaron Fox, I raised a half a point because I don't see why against Atlanta he should be below 40. Those are, I think, all the ones that I changed so far. So, oh wait, I have another one. No, Vucevic, I still can't get to him, Sheets. Literally can't even get them to give him to me, even though I raised him 3 points.
Well,
because he's so close in price to Holmes.
Right. What time does his game start?
The same 7:30.
Yeah,
same game as Holmes. He might start.
Well, then it's not going to help you.
Then I play Holmes off the bench.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Has Rashawn Holmes gotten there in the last 5 years or no?
Yeah,
Okay.
but he has never had this exact situation before. Well, okay, let's talk about it because, well, I mean, they have literally, like, you know, they're a pretty decimated team. When he plays minutes, his per minute is still solid. Their only other big is Vucevic. And they're playing, you know, it's not like a team that plays huge in Brooklyn. You could probably get away with playing small. But if I'm Washington, I'm playing Vucevic more minutes tonight than Holmes. That's what I would do.
I mean, that's what I would do.
What do you do? What are we doing with Rashawn Holmes when we're not playing for anything?
Yeah, I know. I mean, like, at least give the Vooch a shot, you know?
Yeah, exactly. All right, now we got another update here. Just to see if it makes a little more sense here.
Player update. So what does Cleveland look like now?
Well, Levert is the one who everyone's getting to.
I'll run those. When you get off, I'm going to, just so you guys know, I am going to run another set of projections, probably just after Bobby gets off, because nothing's really showed up in the last, like, 10 minutes as far as new news goes. So I imagine that these will be pretty good.
Yeah.
What I put up there. So I'll put those up and we'll see. Right now I'm running the golf thing to distract me. I'm just running new projections and stuff.
Nice. Yeah. From there, Jared Allen, look, it doesn't seem like it makes sense for a direct boost, but I think it's a great matchup for Jared Allen anyway. So he's at 5.8x. Ty Jerome is actually, so that's what they're doing. When I lowered Levert's projection, they gave me a bunch of Ty Jerome.
Oh, okay. So it's one or the other, pretty much. Right?
It kind of gave me that sort of thing. Yeah. So don't necessarily love that either. I'm actually going to drop Ty Jerome's projection too. I don't think it needs to be one of those two guys, but I guess you could argue it could be. But Max Strus is still there. So is Merrill available, which he was out before. So is Yang. I think Garland is the one that I'm going to settle on and maybe even bump his projection a little higher than it is just to get to a good amount of him. It is a back-to-back after a tough game against Boston last night. So we'll have to figure that part out. And to answer Jimmy's question, did you say you don't like Levert play too much? No, I'm just going to be under. I don't want to play 100% Levert when I've seen the situation before. So I still have 30% of them. It's just like I don't have the 100% or the 90% it was trying to give me.
Do you have any thoughts of when you want to do Super Bowl stuff?
Yeah, it probably. See, I've got a thing at noon tomorrow, but I could do it. I could do it after we do basketball tomorrow if you want to.
I think that's a good idea. I think we'll do that.
Yeah, and I think we're getting some more updated projections. I've got a few props that I'll throw out there, and I'll also post some of them later.
You mean the Super Bowl stuff?
Yeah, some really funny ones too.
You don't have your friend isn't doing the national anthem, is she?
No, the national anthem thing is bizarre. There's a lot of people thinking the guy's going to string it out a little bit.
Okay.
I think the under is the way to go. That was pretty amazing that one year. And it was like right on point too. It was literally nailed the exact seconds down. It was pretty wild. Yeah.
Or also, if the person held the note, then held up their cell phone with like a DraftKings thing on or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so I'm gonna get out of here. I'll leave it on for you, and then I'm gonna try.
You don't have to. I'm just gonna be literally just updating projections, and I'm not gonna be seeing any of the chat anyway.
Okay, I'm gonna for everybody who's a site member, I'm gonna bop in the Discord channel and just talk. It won't be like active. It won't be like a show. It'll just be me going through exactly what I'm doing.
Tell me how do you get there?
So there's a thing that says premium voice at the bottom of the premium channels.
Okay.
And if I just click that on, I can share my screen and do whatever, and people can pop in and ask questions and say whatever.
Maybe I'll utilize that one of these days.
Yeah, so I'm going to play around with it more. People are still trying to figure it out, but Simpson is confirmed starting for Charlotte, and they're down enough bodies to where I think he's going to be relevant. But I'm just waiting for the projections to update. So
the premium, what's it called? Premium what?
Premium voice.
I'm in the premium channels. Oh, there it is. Premium voice.
Yeah.
Although I don't have eligibility to get there. I think.
No, I think if you just click on it, it'll lose something. Oh, you're in there, and you're muted. Perfect. See, when you join, you jump and you mute, but then it gives you options to share and stuff like that.
All right, sounds good. I'm gonna get off of this.
All right, take it easy. Good luck, everybody. I'll see you guys soon.